Hi, aniquest here. This is my recap for the anime level 2 super cheat powers. If you dig my recaps, don't forget to subscribe and smash that notification bell. This story takes place in a messed up world where humans treat demi-humans like straight up slaves. Our main dude Banaza, though, he's got a different vibe. He's all about being nice to the demi-humans, but the humans hate him for it. Even the demi-humans warn him to stop being kind, but Banaza ain't having it. He wants everyone to get along, but not many folks feel the same. Out of nowhere, Banaza gets summoned to a whole new world, and they tell him he's a candidate to be a hero. Now he's stuck in the magical kingdom of Clyrode, smack in the middle of a long-ass battle against the Dark Army. The kingdom been summoning heroes from other worlds, hoping they'll fight the Dark Army for them. First things first, they gotta check Banaza's skills. When he got summoned to their world, he had to start all over at level 1. But in return, they give the candidates divine blessings from the gods. These blessings give them powers that no regular person can get just by training. It's called divine revelation. Banaza can read their language, but when the display shows his stats, everyone's freaking horrified. Turns out, Banaza didn't get no divine revelation. His stats are just like any regular person's. It's a major letdown, and the summoners consider it a failure. Banaza tries to tell them he's just a regular merchant and asks if they can send him back home. But nobody gives a damn about his words. Instead, they're all in awe of another candidate who apparently got some crazy powers. This dude's stats are all level 999, and they're calling him their savior, begging him to fight for them. Banaza just wants to go home, but nobody's listening to him. He's racking his brain trying to figure out how to get back. But the king's too busy announcing that the blonde dude will be their hero. Some time passes, and Banaza gets thrown into a carriage and taken away. He looks back, and the king tells him that the summoning gate closed, so they can't send him back home. The kingdom admits it's their screw up, so they're gonna make it up to him. Instead of just getting rid of him, they're gonna let him live in the Delavza forest up north. He can spend the rest of his useless life there, but the only condition is that he keeps his damn mouth shut about the mistake they made. On the journey there, Banaza's got an escort who straight up tells him not to talk to him. But Banaza's a smooth talker, and he manages to get the guy chatting. Turns out, in this country, whether you're a human or a demi-human, they all get treated the same. Banaza's thinking about how shit was looking real bad at the start. His stats were trash. He got stuck living in the damn forest, and there's some dark army threatening humanity. But Banaza ain't about to let nobody look down on him no more. So he starts thinking maybe this world ain't all that shitty after all. Took them a whole damn 20 days to reach the forest. When they finally get there, Banaza gets handed a bottomless bag filled with mad cash and enough food to keep them going for a while. Their driver warns him about the Dark Army lurking around in the forest, so if he wants to stay alive, he better hightail it out of there quickly. Once he's alone, Banaza rummages through his inventory and grabs a sword. He spots some slimes nearby, and they look kinda similar to the ones from his old world, so he figures they won't mess with him. But he was dead wrong, and the slimes come at him, and Banaza's gotta defend himself. Somehow, he manages to survive the encounter, but his cheap-ass weapon's already starting to fall apart. Right then, a notification pops up saying he just hit level 2. His stats look different now, but Banaza's confused as hell about the weird symbols replacing the numbers. He switches on voice notifications, and the voice tells him he's learned some magic spells. He can activate them without opening any menus, and Banaza's straight up shocked by all the spells he scored. But hold up, an alert pops up revealing that there's a monster lure spell placed on the bottomless bag they gave him. That's why the slime attacked his ass. And considering the weapon they gave him was practically useless, Banaza figures the kingdom was setting him up to die. The voice asks if he wants to remove the lure spell, so he does, and the idiot wonders why the hell they'd use magic that's so damn easy to get rid of. Banaza starts looking for a safe spot to take cover, but then the notification stops him. It says that the forest is packed with a crazy amount of melicium. It's just a fancy word for the liquids or gases demons emit. That shit's seriously harmful to humans. The voice asks if he wants to purify the forest, and our boy Banaza thinks it's a damn good idea, especially if he's gotta stay there. The system explains it'll take up 1/3 of his magic, but Banaza figures he's so weak it doesn't matter. But then, when he activates the purification spell, it turns out to be a freaking epic display of magic. And just like that, the notifications go wild as Banaza levels up multiple times. Back at the castle, the princess points out how messed up it was to send Banaza to the forest. especially when it was all our fault in the first place. And to top it off, the Dark Army set up their front lines in the Delevza forest. But the king doesn't give a damn. He just straight up calls Banaza a worthless piece of trash, saying he ain't fit to be their hero. But hold up, out of nowhere, the king gets some urgent news somebody just pulled off the most powerful holy magic ever, purification. The king is so amazed, thinking it was the golden-haired hero who learned that high-level holy magic already, but then he finds out it wasn't even him. The golden-haired hero headed south, but the purification magic went down in the forest up north. Meanwhile, our boy Banaza's chilling and realizes he leveled up all the way to level 367. He didn't even take out monsters, so Banaza figures in this world you can level up just by throwing magic. But here's the thing that's messing with Banaza's head. The weird symbol is still there, showing up next to his stats. It's a lot to wrap his head around. So Banaza decides to silence the level up notifications. Banaza checks his magic reserves and damn, they're fully restored in seconds. Instead of thinking he's some magic prodigy, Banaza figures his magic capacity must be straight trash. He's worried he might still be in danger cause his magic ain't strong enough to purify the forest properly. Since Banaza's banned from living in town, the system suggests he use shape-shifting magic to blend in. So he gives it a shot. First, he tries changing his gender, but that ain't working for him, so he switches to something that suits him better. Then the system recommends teleportation magic, so Banaza teleports himself right into the city. In his old world, teleportation was some high-level sorcerer stuff, but here it seems like everybody can do it. Smart-ass Banaza thinks he can teleport back to his old world, but nope, that shit doesn't work. So he looks for a guild to make some money. Becoming a merchant might be tough since he's a newbie, so he hopes to find an adventurer's guild. That way, he can do some monster slaying or take on transport quests. Lucky for him, the system gives him directions to the guild. When he gets there, they break it down for him. Adventurers get ranked based on their achievements. The higher the rank, the better the rewards and tougher the quests they can take. It's pretty much like guilds in his old world, so Banaza decides to sign up, but he can't use his real name. So he goes with Fleo instead. Fleo wants to make that cash fast, but his rank is too low to earn much dough. Right at that moment, Fleo catches wind of a girl who needs an escort to the Delevza forest. Problem is, she ain't got much cash to offer. And to make matters worse, word on the street is that the Dark Army got a base right smack in that very forest. Ain't nobody willing to take her, but she is desperate to help her family that lives near there. Some adventurers straight up shove her aside because they're annoyed, so Fleo offers to take her. She explains that she doesn't have much to offer, but Fleo says it's not a big deal since he has been there before, and he can just teleport them there. Everybody's jaws drop when they hear him say he can use teleportation magic. They think he's lying, and don't believe he can pull off such a rare skill. Fleo's clueless and surprised cause he figures it ain't even a beginner spell, and it didn't drain much of his mana. Then this royal knight named Balirosa comes in, demanding Fleo back off from the girl. She declares that Fleo doesn't look like a skilled enough sorcerer to use such an advanced spell, so she is suspicious of him. Her crew's just as skeptical, accusing him of having some shady plans. Fleo realizes he can't afford to raise suspicion, so he offers to take them all with them. They find a hidden spot so he can teleport them, but Balirosa warns him not to pull any funny business. Fleo teleports them in an instant, and they're all shocked. Teleportation alone is mind-blowing, but Fleo took them hella far. They start wondering if he's some badass sorcerer from the top ranks, but Fleo just tells him that he's a rookie adventurer who can use a bit of magic. They all apologize for treating him like trash before, and Fleo's just glad they ain't suspicious of him anymore. Then the young girl notices that the forest ain't covered in that thick Melicium layer anymore. Fleo prepares to tell her what he did, but his system warns that it's dangerous to inform a demon about him using purification magic. Fleo's hella confused about this demon talk, but Balirosa and her crew start pointing their weapons at the girl. The guild been suspecting her, so Balirosa demands she show them her true form. At first, the girl acts all scared, but then she straight up shocks everybody by revealing her true self. Her name's Fenris, and she's the lil sis of Fengirl from the Infernal Four. She unleashes enough Melicium to bring all the girls down, and Balirosa's mind is blown cause she didn't expect the girl to be a demon connected to the Infernal Four. Fenri's impressed by Fleo, seeing he ain't affected by the Melicium, so she decides to save him for last. Fleo manages to rescue Balirosa, but he knows he can't bounce himself while protecting the other 4 girls. But then Fleo taps into his teleportation powers and gets all the girls out of there. Even he's impressed it actually works. Fleo don't know why he ended up here, but he ain't gonna let himself get wiped out before he can do shit in this new world. He stands up and gets ready to unleash every damn spell he's got. Fenris tries to stop him, but the dude ain't having it. He busts out this spell called Meteoric Leap and launches himself into the damn sky. Even he's surprised at how smooth that move was. Then he pulls out another ability to defend himself. Fenris ain't no slouch either. She starts teleporting around to dodge Fleo's whirlwind, but Fleo ain't playing. He hits her with a gravitational spell to keep her locked in place. Fenris is straight up stunned by how powerful this dude is. Fleo's scrambling, going through all his spells, trying to find one that'll restrain her. His system suggests he use subjugation magic, which basically enslaves the target and lets Fleo control them. Fleo refuses to use magic like that, but time is running out as Fenris is about to break free. She keeps throwing spells at him, but Fleo's system keeps nullifying them. It's only a matter of time before she busts loose, so the system keeps pushing Fleo to use subjugation magic. But Fleo keeps rejecting the idea because he just got to this world and doesn't want to bring that kind of corruption from his past world. Then out of nowhere, Fenris admits she don't have the magic to break free and straight up tells Fleo to end her life. Fleo refuses to do it as he explains he ain't even into fighting in the first place. Fenris is shocked when he sets her free. She lets him know she's a warrior of the demons, always clashing with humans. But Fleo doesn't give a damn if she's human or demon. He just ain't down to eliminate someone who's already surrendered. Fenris is blown away by his kindness, and she transforms back into a human, dropping her beast form. Fleo offers to let her bounce, but he wants her to promise she won't mess with humans no more. He checks his bottomless bag for some clothes for her, but she's drained from using her magic and falls asleep. That night, Fleo takes a look at all the different types of magic he's got. He wonders why people find it hard to believe he can teleport and why his magic is so damn powerful. Fenris wakes up wondering how she lost, even though she's resistant to magic. She realizes Fleo healed her while she was knocked out and points out that most folks would have took her out and skinned her, but Fleo didn't, so she promises never to fight humans again. And Fleo showed such insane power that she decides to acknowledge him as her master. She vows to dedicate her life to repay him, but Fleo says it's okay. But she ain't backing down. She straight up offers to be his slave, no strings attached. Fleo ain't about that slave-owning life, but she determines that if she can't serve him, then there's nothing left to live for. Fleo stops her and finally gives in, letting her tag along. Later, Fleo spills all the deets about how he got summoned and failed to become a hero because he had 0 skills. He shows her his true appearance and admits he's clueless about what to do next. He's sure she'll regret following him, but she explains that her race lives solely for the one they recognize as their master, no matter who he is or where he is from. She swears to always stay loyal to him. Fleo agrees once again to let her roll with him, and she couldn't be happier. At the castle, the king's hella disappointed when he hears that the golden hero straight up let the troops he was in charge of get wiped out. This hero blames the soldiers, saying they panicked, and claims he did everything he could to save them. He bounces, but another soldier spills everything to the king. Turns out this hero just chilled behind the army the whole damn time, then dipped out while everyone else fought. And he had the nerve to blame everyone else for the loss. It's looking real bad, and some of the troops start hating on the hero. When he's alone, the hero's mad as hell because none of his abilities have improved even a bit after a whole damn month of training. He can handle weak-ass monsters, but he's straight up helpless against any beast that knows how to fight. Just then, his servant Tsuya shows up to greet him. This dude's a real piece of work, telling her to come with him so he can spoil her with the castle's money. The next day, Fleo decides to hit up the Adventurers Guild to make some cash. But he can't get used to Fenris calling him master. Some merchant mistakes them for a married couple, so Fleo thinks it might be easier to travel together if they act like a couple instead of raising eyebrows. Fenris happily agrees to be his wife because it's a Lupin's dream to have a strong husband. Fleo tries to remind her they're just pretending, but it's too late, she's already calling him darling. At the Adventurers Guild, Fenris gets her own adventurer tag, and when Fenris sees Fleo with matching accessories, it reminds her of this marriage ritual her Lupin race performs. They swallow the bones of prey they hunted together. Lucky for our boy, he gets interrupted before he can dwell on that thought because the guild receptionist asks for Fenris's name. Fenris is about to proudly announce her real name, but Fleo cuts her off and registers her as Reyes. So Fleo straight up tells Reyes that she gotta start living as a human and use fake names from now on. And right then, they announce at the guild that there's some crazy ass quest to stop these psycho bears from getting into the city. All the adventurers are scared shitless because these psycho bears are the ones who wrecked the hero's army. It's a freaking emergency, so adventurers of any rank can take the job. And get this, the guild's paying out 10 times the usual amount per bear to motivate someone to step up. This job's looking hella profitable, but Fleo ain't sure if he can handle it. But Reyes, she insists he can. Fleo reminds her that even the real hero failed to beat those bears. But then Reyes comes up with a plan. She'll take down the psycho bears herself and prove how strong Fleo is because he's the one who defeated her. Fleo teleports them to the forest where the bears are chilling. And there's a vacant house there that the guild said they can use as a base. Reyes is all confident she can handle the battle on her own, but Fleo ain't letting her. Plus, he's got some spells he wants to test, so Reyes is just stoked they'll be together. Right then, they hear screams and find the same group of knights from earlier surrounded by the psycho bears. Reyes remembers them and couldn't give two shits about those weak-ass losers. The buff girl's in bad shape, but she's still trying to fight, ending up in a tight spot. But luckily for the knights, the psycho bears get taken down by an attack. One tough bear's left, but Reyes kicks its ass. It was Fleo's idea to save the knights, so Reyes thinks he's just too damn nice. The knights are all grateful and explain they were worried about what happened to Fleo. Fleo's scared they'll find out Reyes' true identity, so he just introduces her as his travel buddy. She wishes he'd introduce her as his wife, but they get interrupted by another psycho bear. The bear goes straight for Reyes, but she shuts it down with one terrifying glare. Reyes acts like she don't know what happened, and the bear nods its head, making them think it surrendered. They decide to keep it as a pet, but the knights are hella shocked because these psycho bears wrecked the hero's army. Reyes says that's even more of a reason to take it as they pet, but Fleo's thinking about preventing it from hurting others. He puts a collar on it to keep it in check and uses shape shift to make it blend in more. They try to come up with a name for it, but the knights can't believe how they just casually tamed such a fierce beast. Later, the knights thank Fleo for saving them once again and introduce themselves. Other than Ballyrosa, there's Blossom the badass fighter, Bolano the witch, and Byrelli, the ex-farmer turned knight. They reveal that they want Fleo to teach them how to fight. The golden hero got hella pissed when his army failed him and swore he'd never lead another force against the Dark One. He said he'd only reconsider if he found trustworthy peeps to serve him. So, the golden hero's been holed up in his room until that time comes, and the king ordered the knights to dedicate themselves to combat until they can take down beasts on the same level as the psycho bears. But these four can't even defeat one psycho bear together, so they need Fleo's help. Fleo's thinking he don't even know jack about how magic works, so there's no way he can teach anyone. Meanwhile, Reyes is feeling hella jealous watching these girls trying to get close to Fleo. So Fleo decides to tell them that Reyes is his wife, and they just trying to live a quiet, peaceful life together. The knights step back and understand the situation. But then Reyes suggests that Fleo helps them out. She points out that as his wife, she knows better than anyone that he's a kind-hearted dude who won't abandon someone in need. Fleo knows he can't teach what he doesn't know, but he can see how much they need his help. He admits he might not be the best teacher, but he agrees to train them. The girls are stoked. But they got one more request. They need a place to crash, and they're even down to pay rent for a corner of the living room. Reyes thinks it's a bomb idea because there are plenty of rooms, and she and Fleo can share a bed since they're married. Meanwhile, word gets to the Dark One that the one who wiped out the demons and purified the Delaves of Forest ain't even from the kingdom of Clyrode. It was one lone individual. The Dark One's surprised as hell to hear that one person's got magic powerful enough to take out demons instantly. He's made up his mind and tells his subordinate to find and capture that individual at all costs. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to not miss the next part.